folks, so the next term for the University of the People is coming up. I'm recording this video on Saturday the 13th and the next term is on the 18th. I should publish it today, but here we go. Right now I am currently in the Master's of Education program, so I'm going to show you how I organize my things so that you can get a better idea of how to get yourself on the right foot before starting the term. Alright, so the first thing that you have to do is look at the assignments that you have to do. Okay, so first things first, you go on the website, and I'm going to use one of my previous classes as an example. So let's say you're on the very first unit. You're going to click on Learning Guide, Unit 1. And you're going to see the assignments on the right side. You don't have to read the overview. It's not very useful at all. It doesn't give you anything specific. So just go on the right side and then you'll see that you have the reading assignment, which is basically they're your readings for the discussion, written, and portfolio activities. So these are 4 specific tasks, right? The reading assignment, discussion assignment, written assignment, and portfolio. There's a couple of other tasks like grading other people's papers and also commenting on other discussion posts. So the way I organize it is this. So I use Google Calendars to organize my life basically, and so I know that term 5 begins on the 18th of June, right? And so on Thursday here, and this is going to look different especially if you are taking 2 or 3 classes. This is just for somebody that's doing 1 class. So for example, on Thursday I could dedicate an hour and 15 minutes to complete all the readings. Keep this in mind that you do not have to read every single readings. Maybe there's like 14 different readings. You don't have to read all 14. You could click on, I would suggest for if you're looking for evidence for discussion, the writing, and the portfolio assignment, I would say to gather like maybe 7 or 10 quotes from 3 or 4 different sources or 5 different sources. Okay, so you do not have to read all 14 or all 13 readings. Just choose the ones that are most relevant to the question. So that's why I put an hour and 15 minutes, and I just beast mode it and so that's I have that on Thursday. On Friday I complete the discussion post. This will take me maybe an hour and 15 minutes or an hour and a half. I try not to go over an hour and 15 because it's just the discussion post and it doesn't require a lot of it's not worth as much as the other assignments. I put here on the Saturday of the 20th we have the writing assignment. So this one obviously is going to take a little bit more time. It could take up to 2 hours or an hour and a half if you have all your readings and everything done. I put the group project here even though it doesn't correspond to the first unit, but it might for the 5th or the 6th unit. You always have to allocate time for the group project at least once a week. If it's an hour, 2 hours. And then on Sunday, I put it in Spanish, but it's basically grade and interact on the discussion post. That's what I was telling you about, that you have to comment other students' discussion posts and of that sort. So that'll take me about an hour or an hour and 15 minutes. And then the very following day, this is where I'll write my portfolio. And again, this one is like really easy, and I'll go into detail for each of these assignments and show you exactly how I organize my thought processes. And then yeah, that is pretty much it. Again, if you're taking 2 or 3 classes, you want to double or triple the time that it'll take you, because if you're barely starting off, this might take you more time simply because you're just learning how to navigate the website, learning how to navigate the resource base that's on the website. So it might take you more time, especially if you are a first timer. Alright, so let's just start off with the readings. So let's say I have all the readings assignments here. Well, first you need to know what the question is, right? So you're not just reading blindly, but you're reading with purpose. So you go to the discussion assignment. If this is my question, I'm just gonna copy and paste it to a different document. And this is what the document that, give me 1 second to look for it, right here. So this is the document I use. So here I would just paste the question on here, and I will just use that as my guiding point for the readings. And here you see that I just have 5 different readings out of like 10 maybe that was on there. And then so I would put the source on the first column, the second column I would put the quote, and then the third column, this is optional if you have time, how it relates to, but it might help you save time on the actual assignments because you're rephrasing it in your own words. So it's optional. At the end of the last units, I wouldn't put anything on that last column. And to make it easier for you and faster during any of the assignments, I would just put the in-text citation on here. I started to do this on the last units because I started to get the hang of it and trying to learn as I go to make it more efficient. And I would just put the last name, the page number, and the year under each quote that I was going to use. It's faster because you can simply just copy and paste that onto your in-text citation instead of you trying to do that for every single quote while you're writing the assignment. And so I would separate it. Here we have the discussion post, and then we have the writing assignment down here. And I put 7 to 10 quotes, but honestly, if you have like 5, that's pretty good. Like 5 to 7, I would say, for the writing assignment. But sorry, I'm just jumping here. But here we have the discussion post, and then we would just write it on a separate paper here. And then I would just try to organize it as much as possible. One of the professors told me that 500 word count is what most students who get 10 out of 10, and which is probably true, but I would just say to make it easier for the reader is just to organize it in a way that is nice, and I wouldn't just create one whole paragraph as your discussion post. I've seen that happen. Nobody wants to read like a huge ass 500 word paragraph. Try to organize it, put headings if possible, so it's easier for us to read it. And yep, that's pretty much it. And you include your references. Again, for the discussion post, I would just recommend like 3 to 5. You can do more, but honestly, again, this is a discussion post, it's not worth a lot. It's 10 points, but you could still get a great score, a 10 out of 10, if you have correct in-text citations, if you have correct references, if you are answering the question in a very effective way, you would still get that score. Okay, so in terms of the writing assignment, let's take a look. So down here, I put my quotes, and then I put the page number. Also, don't forget to put the page number or the section number, the paragraph number. You got to put it all in there because many people have trouble with APA format and APA in-text citation, and it affects their grade tremendously. I noticed this my very first term. I would receive low scores simply because I didn't have the proper in-text citations. And don't forget the outside sources. This does not have to be completely academic, limited to academic or news articles, academic journals. It could be literally anything as long as it's a reliable source. And so that I would transfer all of this into an actual paper. So this is what it would look like typically with the cover page. Make it pretty, put headings if possible, And the question, obviously, you have to answer it in less than 3 pages. Don't go over 3 pages because that will affect your grade as well, and your reference page. Okay, so everything is pretty nice, clear here. All right, and then the last thing is the portfolio. So let me go there. So this would be the portfolio, and basically it's a reflection of how you can implement these teachings or these readings in your own classroom. It should be the easiest part of the unit is the portfolio, and I believe that your professor should provide some resources on how to create those reflections. And although it doesn't really tell you like you have to put evidence or specific citations or whatever, you should still do it. I think they're a little bit less strict on the portfolio, but I would suggest to include 3 citations as possible, like minimum. You can go above that obviously, but with 3 I think you'll be fine. I know this is something that a lot of the units don't tell you specifically, is that if you include any personal experiences with the content or with the readings, that's gonna push your grade as well. In any of the assignments, the discussion, the written, the portfolio, if you're a teacher, use those experiences and make them relevant to the readings. Make sure you can make that connection between your experiences and the readings. Let me show you how the next task is, and it's not on here specifically, but I will show you how you're supposed to assess other students' papers. So the very first unit, you don't have to do that obviously because there are no papers from the previous week, but once you get to the second unit, you will have to do that. And the way you would do this is, let's say you're on unit 2, right? You go to unit 1, the previous unit, and you're going to click on writing assignment. Okay, and down below here there are 3 papers that you have to grade. So you're going to click on each one. Okay, some people post it on here. They're not supposed to, but it should typically be an attachment of a Word doc or a PDF. And this is the way you would assess. You put a number, you comment. You should be commenting on each one, just like this, right here. And then you have to include those feedback comments on the bottom as well. So it's pretty self-explanatory here. My biggest suggestion is just be nice, but give feedback that is helpful and practical, because a lot of times, and don't go overboard with this. I know there are people that go above and beyond and take their time to correct every single thing, but honestly, realistically, just do as much as you can. If you only have 20 minutes to grade one specific assessment, just take the 20 minutes to do that. You don't think that you need to go over and above and beyond. It just be nice. I mean, if they have it for the most part, just give them the credit. Like, we're supposed to be here to support one another as students. I've seen people put like 5 out of 10 one time because I just missed one citation, and that's not very nice, and it's not it's also against the rubric, because the rubric says like if there's few mistakes in text citations, then it should be an 8, not a 5. And if you notice that somebody graded your paper incorrectly, you can still you still have time to talk to the professor and say, hey, I think this student graded my paper in a way that's not very fair, or something like that along those lines. For commenting, you just go to the discussion board. I'll show you. So you just go on discussion forum, you go back here, you reply, and you basically comment on people's assignments through there. Pretty self-explanatory. Let's say you are having trouble writing the the writing assignment or the portfolio or any of the assignments, I would suggest to create some kind of outline to organize your thoughts. So let me give you an example. So this one was one of my writing outlines for one of the papers. It's kind of messy, but that's how this is how my brain works. And this actually helped me because I'm thinking about step by step what I'm going to write about before actually writing it. I have one for portfolio as well. I just use bullet points to help organize my thoughts. So it takes a little bit more time, but hey, it's better than not having anything written down. And at the end of I think I did this my very first term, and then the next term I stopped using the outlines because I just didn't need them anymore. And I hope this video gives you a clear perspective on how to organize your thoughts, your tasks for the week. I am a full-time teacher, and I am taking classes here at the University of the People, and so it's very important for you to organize and allocate time to everything. And I highly suggest Google Calendars. It's been a lifesaver this past year. And just remember that I always come whenever I have to do, like, let's say grade, University of the People assignments, or comment on other people's posts. Just have that perspective that you are learning and you're applying all these theories while you're teaching. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things of this program, is that you can read and you can apply it the very next day, which is awesome. And so I would just come in with an open mind and say, hey, like, instead of saying, oh, I have to grade these, no, like, think of it like, hey, I have this opportunity to read this person's paper and get a different perspective on education. And most of the people here at the University of People are from all over the world. They're not just the United States. Yes, it's in California, but there's thousands of students that from around the world, and it just gives you a different global perspective, which is pretty amazing. So that is pretty much it. If you have any questions, please comment them below. I don't feel comfortable providing my email address, but if you have any of the questions, I can just write them through there. If you found this very helpful and want to help me out, I know this is free information, I don't charge or anything. Just go ahead and click that like button and and subscribe, please, for more videos. I'm thinking of doing, I didn't talk about the group project, and that is a whole organization idea itself, and so I will create a video about that. All right, nos vemos, chao.